Kadavi Fletcher. Remember that name? In a galaxy teeming with species evolved for combat beings with exoskeletons, multiple limbs, and natural camouflage, a human was seen as a joke. When Kadavi enlisted in the prestigious Celestial Aegis Academy, the snickers followed him down every corridor. He was soft, fragile, a primitive species barely out of its atmospheric cradle. His instructors saw him as a quota filler, his peers as an easy mark. They were all wrong. The first test was the Zero-G Gauntlet, a brutal obstacle course designed to push physical limits. The Cathar, with their powerful legs, bounded through it. The Cillian navigators, with their innate spatial awareness, glided past energy nets. Kadavi, however, struggled. He was slower, weaker, but, as he watched, he saw something they didn't. He saw patterns. He noticed the timing of the laser grids, the slight wobble in the spinning platforms. While others relied on raw power, Kadavi used his mind. He didn't just run the course, he solved it. He finished in the middle of the pack, exhausted but not defeated. His platoon leader, a grizzled Gramdonian veteran, made a note. Nothing laudatory, just a simple observation, unorthodox, efficient. Next came the simulated combat drills in the holodeck. The scenario was Broken Arrow, a classic overwhelming odds situation. Kadavi was placed in command of a small, outgunned squad. His teammates, a mix of species who had openly mocked him, expected a quick failure. The enemy, simulated Vorlag marauders, swarmed their position. Standard doctrine was to dig in, fortify, and hold the line. It was a losing strategy, and everyone knew it. Kadavi threw the book out the airlock. "Forget the trench," he ordered, his voice steady despite the chaos. "Scatter. Use the environment. We're not soldiers. We're ghosts." He had spent hours studying the simulation's topography, something no one else had bothered to do. He directed his heavy weapons specialist to a narrow choke point he'd identified, his scout to a hidden ridge for overwatch. He himself led a two-person team on a daring flanking maneuver through a network of unstable crystal caves. The simulation marked as hazardous. The other cadets thought he was crazy. Going into the caves was suicide. But Kadavi had calculated the risk. The structural integrity would hold just long enough. As the main enemy force pushed on their old, now empty position, Kadavi's team emerged behind them, sowing chaos and confusion. The heavy weapon pinned them down, the sniper picked off their commanders, and Kadavi's flanking team hit them where they were weakest. They didn't just survive, they won. They completed the objective with minimal casualties. Silence. In the debriefing, the silence was thick. The instructor replayed Kadavi's tactical decisions on the main screen, highlighting his unconventional use of terrain and psychological warfare. The smirks were gone, replaced by grudging respect. The final exam was the Crucible, a live fire team exercise on a deserted moon. Two companies, Alpha and Bravo, would compete to capture a central beacon, Kadavi, with an Alpha company. Bravo company was led by Xyla, a draconian prodigy, a being born and bred for war, who had never lost a tactical simulation. Xyla's strategy was textbook perfection, a swift, overwhelming frontal assault, supported by air and armored superiority. It was brutal and effective. Alpha Company was immediately on the back foot. Their lines buckled under the sheer force of Bravo's attack. Panic began to set in, but Kadavi, now a squadron leader, kept his cool. He had anticipated this. He knew he couldn't beat Xyla at a conventional fight, so he changed the game. All units he broadcasted on a secure channel. "This is Fletcher. Execute Protocol Chimera." It was a contingency plan he had devised. One his company commander had dismissed as too risky, but had approved as a last resort. The plan was a masterpiece of deception. A small part of his force kept up a token resistance, making it look like Alpha was crumbling exactly as Xyla predicted. But the bulk of Alpha Company, under the cover of a solar flare that Kadavi had timed perfectly using astronomical charts, wasn't retreating. They were moving. They used a network of deep canyons to bypass the main battlefield entirely. It was a treacherous route, one that required perfect navigation and discipline. Xyla, confident in his victory, pushed his forces toward Alpha's command post, eager to seal his win. He was so focused on the head of the snake that he didn't realize the snake was no longer there. Kadavi and his main force had appeared as if from nowhere, capturing the objective with virtually no resistance. Xyler was stunned. He had been outmaneuvered, outthought by the soft, fragile human. Back at the academy, the commendation ceremony was a grand affair. The highest honors for tactical innovation didn't go to the draconian prodigy. They went to the human from the backwater planet Earth. As Commandant Thrax pinned the Starburst medal on Kadavi's chest, he leaned in and spoke in a low voice, for Kadavi alone to hear. Strength is not always in the claw or the fang. Sometimes, it is in the mind that refuses to break. You have reminded us of that, Cadet Fletcher. From that day on, no one at the Celestial Aegis Academy underestimated a human ever again. Kadavi Fletcher had not only earned his place among the stars, he had proven that in the vast, dangerous theater of galactic warfare, the most powerful weapon of all was a brilliant mind. He was no longer just a human. He was a legend in the making. Thank you so much for watching this story unfold. If you enjoyed Kadavi's journey, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from across the galaxy. Let us know in the comments what you think made Kadavi so successful. Until next time, stay curious.